Hey everybody, Ross here, and this is Bible Studies. So, if this is your first time on this channel, click the first link down in the description to go back to the intro, or if you'd like to see just what's been going on recently, click the second link down in the description to go back to Exodus 32. Now without further ado, I'm just going to jump right on in to Exodus 33, verse 1. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Depart and go up from here, you and the people whom you have brought out of the land of Egypt, to the land of which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, to your descendants I will give it. And I will send my angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanite, and the Amorite, and the Hittite, and the Perizzite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Go up to a land flowing with milk and honey, for I will not go up in your midst, lest I consume you on the way, for you are a stiff-necked people." And when the people heard this bad news, they mourned, and no one put on his ornaments. For the Lord had said to Moses, "Say to the children of Israel, you are a stiff-necked people. I could come up into your midst in one moment and consume you. Now therefore, take off your ornaments, that I may know what to do to you." So the children of Israel stripped themselves of their ornaments by Mount Horeb. Moses took his tent and pitched it outside the camp, far from the camp, and called it the tabernacle of meeting. And it came to pass that everyone who sought the Lord went out to the tabernacle of meeting, which was outside the camp. So it was, whenever Moses went out to the tabernacle, that all the people rose, and each man stood at his tent door and watched Moses until he had gone into the tabernacle. And it came to pass, when Moses entered the tabernacle, that the pillar of cloud descended and stood at the door of the tabernacle, and the Lord talked with Moses. All the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the tabernacle door, and all the people rose and worshipped, each man in his tent door. So the Lord spoke to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. And he would return to the camp. But his servant Joshua, son of Nun, a young man, did not depart from the tabernacle. Then Moses said to the Lord, "See, you say to me, bring up this people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. Yet you have said, I know you by name, and you have also found grace in my sight. Now therefore I pray, if I have found grace in your sight, show me now your way, that I may know you, and that I may find grace in your sight. And consider that this nation is your people." And he said, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." Then he said to him, "If your presence does not go with us, do not bring us up from here. For how then will it be known that your people and I have found grace in your sight, except that you go with us? So we shall be separate, your people and I, from all the people who are upon the face of the earth." So the Lord said to Moses, "I will also do this thing that you have spoken, for you have found grace in my sight, and I know you by name." And he said, "Please, show me your glory." Then he said, "I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim the name of the Lord before you. I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion." But he said, "You cannot see my face, for no man shall see me and live." And the Lord said, "Here is a place by me, and you shall stand on the rock. So it shall be, when my glory passes by, that I will put you in the cleft of the rock, and will cover you with my hand while I pass by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen. Alright, the chapter begins with God telling the people to go to the promised land, and that he would drive out the Canaanites from before them. Unlike every other occasion like this, though, God also tells Israel that he will not personally go with them, like he had been before, because of the golden calf incident. The people were highly grieved when they heard this, and understandably so. As stiff-necked as Israel was, they had enough sense to realize that if God is not present in something, it is lifeless, joyless, unfulfilling, and most often utterly useless. Acts 17:28 says, "For in him we live and move and have our being." Basically, if God isn't in something, it's pointless. Moses even goes as far as to say that if God wasn't going, he wasn't going. That alone speaks for itself, and should be one of the main mottos of every Christian. Now, in verses 7 to 11, God has Moses move his tent far away from the camp and designates it as the temporary place of worship while the real tabernacle was being built. Now, why was it so far away? I think God was really driving home the point that he wanted Israel to be separate from the idolatrous nations around them. To show this, he made it so that someone would have to separate themselves from the camp in order to come closer to God's presence. Now, verse 11 says that even after Moses would leave the tabernacle, Joshua would remain. In other words, Joshua lived in the presence of God. It would be an understatement to say that we should all strive to do just that every day, by whatever means necessary. And finally, the chapter ends with God showing Moses his goodness. After everything Moses had seen on Mount Sinai, what with the tabernacle and the law and the burning mountain, the whole thing, God still had more to show him. And it's the same with us. Even with everything that God's done for us, most of us never even get close to scratching the surface of God's full awesomeness. And that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. If you have any comments, feedback, or suggestions, leave them down below in the comments. And may God make you as Ephraim and Manasseh, to be fruitful where you are, and to forget the pain of your past. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you all soon in Exodus 30.